Hi, I'm Kress, and I'm going to be talking about the importance of cutting potato seed correctly. So farmers, like most other businessmen, they're all about being as efficient as possible and not wasting money or resources when they don't have to. And this is because they deal with Mother Nature and raising and lowering prices of crop commodities. And so if they have an inefficient year where they've just been blowing money left and right and haven't been efficient, and they don't have a good crop that year because of Mother Nature, because crop prices are down, then they can really lose a lot of money, and that can potentially break the farm. And so there are many ways a farm can improve their efficiency and cut costs, but an important and beneficial way for farmers to do this is to make sure they're cutting their potato seed correctly. So cutting potato seed correctly can have many benefits to the farm. So there's less money spent on buying seed because you're cutting it right and you're not wasting any, so you can buy less. So it can improve the quality and yield of the crop. And this is true because if you're cutting to the right size, then you're ensuring that you get a healthy plant started and a good root system started right off the bat. So then cutting seed incorrectly can tremendously hurt your crop, because if you have seed cut too small, then it doesn't have enough nutrients in that seed piece to get a healthy plant started and a good root system developed. And if you have a seed piece that's too large, then you have enough to get a good plant going, but then you've just wasted money because you've put too big of a seed piece in the ground that you needed to, and you could have potentially cut it again and got another plant out of that. And so according to the University of Idaho, they have found that the optimum seed piece size is 2.5 ounces. And they've, after research, have found that this is the size that guarantees there's enough nutrients to get a good plant started and a healthy root system, and it doesn't waste a bunch of seed. And so a study done by the University of Maine has shown that no seed pieces should be under 1.5 ounces, and no seed pieces should be over 3 ounces. Now they've come out with this because it is impossible to get every seed piece 2.5 ounces, because every potato is a different size and weight. And so they've figured out this is the optimum range where you can still get a good crop and you're not going to have problems with your planter. And you can achieve this size profile by having a quality seed cutter and having it set correctly. And a high quality seed cutter also reduces stress on the cut seed, so it focuses on putting more of its energy into making a plant and getting a root system developed than healing itself. And so knowing how the seed should get cut and to a good start is only half the process. So now we'll go into how a seed cutter achieves cutting potatoes properly. So if you look at picture 1, it shows a double deck milestone seed cutter, which is the one we use on our farm. Then if you move to picture 2, the seed cutting process, it starts by dumping potatoes grown specifically for seed to be cut and used as potato seed. It's getting dumped onto the rear conveyor belt of the cutter. And then if you go to picture 3, you can see the seed getting conveyed up to a sorting table, and you'll see that the potatoes on the sorting table in picture 3. And that sorting table works kind of like a screen. So the bigger potatoes, they stay on top and keep going, and the smaller ones, they'll fall through the holes as they go along, because there's gaps in between the rollers, so they fall through the middles. And so initially when the potatoes get on that table, the 1.5 ounce potatoes and under, they fall through and they get eliminated out and thrown away because they're too small to use. And then anything that is 1.5 to 3 ounces, that gets sorted out next, and that just goes down to a belt and goes all the way through without getting cut, because it's already in that size profile that you initially want, so it doesn't need to be cut. And then the next seed to be sorted out is seed in the range of 3 to 5 ounces. So that falls through the table next, and it goes down to the bottom cutting deck. And so it'll fall through and it'll go on these rollers I'm going to talk about in a second, and it'll get cut one time. And then anything that is 5 ounces and over stays on the top, and it goes over the top cutting deck, and it gets cut 2 to 3 times. And so if there is anything that is 10 ounces and over, it goes on the top as well, and it'll get cut 3 times. but it still needs cut one more time at the end. And there's people at the end of the seed cutter that look for those big pieces, and they'll cut them themselves in half. So once the seed is sorted to its appropriate cutting deck, it's fed onto special rollers, which you see in picture 5. Now, these rollers are designed to turn the seeds sideways and then feed them through the knives, so they're cut widthwise instead of lengthwise, and you can see this in picture 6. And the top cutting deck has one extra step, and it handles the bigger pieces. So if you go to picture 7 now, you'll see after the seed is initially, well, won't see that, but so after the seed is initially cut up there, it's grabbed by those 2 big rollers you see in the picture, and they're pushed through that big metal knife you see there in the middle, and they get cut that 3rd time. And then finally the seed comes out of the back of the cutter. You can see this in picture 8, and it is fed over one last separating table to get rid of any small pieces that were trimmed off of the potato that are too small to use, and you'll see them fall into a belt and get conveyed out to the side. So then they go onto a belt where all the people are standing around, and they are looking for the bigger seed pieces to cut them in half. And there's also someone that takes a small bucket sample of the cut seed on a regular time interval, and they take that bucket of seed over to a sizing chart, which you can see on picture 9, and they will size the seed pieces accordingly on this sorting chart, and then it tells them their side profile and what their average size they're getting is, so they know if they need to make any adjustments to the cutter, and if they're just in that desired range they want. And then lastly, the seed pieces are loaded onto a truck and taken to the field to plant, and you can see this in picture 10. So now that this process is complete, farmers can know that this is one area of farming that is as efficient as they can make it. And I only touched on one of the many areas of efficiency that farmers can monitor and control, but properly cut seed is one of the most important because it happens at the start of the growing season. So I would like to end with a quote that Shaw Paget stated in an article on spudsmart.com that says, "The seed is your first step of many, and if you mess up with this step with poor seed or poor management of the seed, it haunts you all summer long. You just can't make up the difference." Thank you.